Hello, everybody. It is Sarah Lauk, the host of Unmuzzled, a podcast. Again, we spell that P-A-W-D because it's all things animals all the time. And today I am going to be joined by Dr. Picking from Nashville area. Again, another guest that I met at RooFest that we held in Nashville. She's going to be coming right up. Presenting sponsors, you are up. Thank you so much to our presenting sponsors. Canine Cruise is the place to take your pet. They offer dog and cat boarding, dog daycare, pet retail, and mindful day school. Tons of indoor space with a huge yard. Canine Cruise is your one-stop shop for professional pet care in Chicago. Kiki's Corner Natural Pet Foods in downtown Winfield, just a block south of CDH Hospital on the railroad tracks. Kiki's has all your food and health aid needs for dogs and cats. Kiki's Corner for a healthy, happy pet. Thank you, sponsors. I appreciate you. Hello, Dr. Picking. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, so we talked at RooFest in Nashville, which was a glorious event. That was my first time there. I didn't make it last year because I believe you had like the remnants of like a hurricane that was crazy. And the event still went on magically because of Karen and Kyla and all the work of everybody. But it was a pleasure to meet you. And I think, integrative pet care in general is on the upswing. I always talk about this on this podcast. Just, the whole reason that this podcast exists is because people care now more than ever about their pets, and they care really a lot about what my guests have to say. So take us back to, and really, to be honest with you, like I had acupuncture and it changed my life. So you obviously have a lot of knowledge, and it's not just acupuncture we're going to talk about either. It's laser therapy and rehab and that kind of thing. So take us back to, growing up. I'm assuming you had a lot of pets and you were interested in animals, but then how did you kind of get into this field, which is integrative pet care?
Yeah, so I knew I always wanted to work with animals. I did have to undergo knee surgery myself, and so I had to go through the whole rehab process. And that's what really kind of started my curiosity into that side of the medicine. I was like, well, if we can do this for people, why can't we do this for animals? And when I was looking into it, to do rehab and like laser therapy and acupuncture, all the integrative things with animals, there's kind of two ways that one can go about that. You can be a human physical therapist and get trained and get into animals in that route, or you can become a vet and then specialize. And my thoughts were, if I become a vet, I can understand the canine body more, the feline body, understand the pathophysiology a little bit better. And also I thought it might give me some more job opportunities. So I definitely decided that I wanted to go to vet school and then kind of get into the small niche of veterinary medicine. It's not something that they really teach much of in vet med, but you can definitely take like lunch lectures and some extracurricular type courses to learn about it. I actually did my Chi Institute acupuncture training while I was in school, and so I graduated with that training already under my belt as well.
Honestly, just to figure out that you want to go that route, and honestly, when it's a time when it's like not as cool as it is now. I mean, it is pretty, it's like, and I know that you see it firsthand because talking to people at our events and other events that you go to, like when you're able to talk to them and tell them how much of a difference this can make, whether it's surgery, recovery, mobility. We even talked to Kyla about, helping her dog Brad with some mobility issues and how that would affect, him since he is fighting cancer. So first of all, I love the name of your business, which is the Vital Spark, because it really is vital at this point to get this for your animals for longevity, value of life, that kind of thing. Can you take us into, for like act like I'm a new client, what?
Yeah.
How is this acupuncture going to help my animal?
Yeah. So acupuncture is amazing because it's not. I know a lot of people hear acupuncture and they kind of think of this ominous kind of voodoo situation, but there's really a lot of science behind it. And they haven't even discovered everything that it does, but some of the things that it does, it really does make sense when you think about it. The needles go in through the skin into the connective tissue underneath, and they kind of go into these areas where these points that are rich collections of nerve endings, blood vessels, lymphatics, and they start a cascade of effects. So we get local effects like we get increased cell turnover, cell activation, cell energy production. We also get increased blood flow, which can help bring blood flow to the area. It can help push out inflammation, bring in growth factors. It can help increase like tissue healing if they had a recent wound. It can help fur grow back for some of my patients that had surgery and had to be shaved and things like that. It can help with that. We also get systemic effects, so increased hormone release like opioids, endorphins, serotonins. It's almost like the natural high that runners get when you're in about 2 or 3 miles into a run and you start to feel like almost euphoric. Some of my pets will start getting really sleepy and yawning. Some will start napping and snoring. I have videos of some of my patients snoring during treatment. The kitty cats always look a little high and they stare off into space, which is kind of funny. And then we also get nerve activation. And it actually activates a nerve pathway that's different than pain. It's faster than the pain pathway, so it can actually override pain in that moment. It's almost like if you hit your elbow and it hurts, and so you rub it. We actually are doing that because we're activating the nerve pathways that are faster than pain, and that's why the pain will go away temporarily when we rub it. So you guys are actually doing some of the stuff that acupuncture does without even knowing why.
Oh, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah. You're right. It's kind of cool when you can apply the science behind it. So
right, and even the fur loss thing. I mean, that's honestly amazing that it can do that. I never have heard of that. So too, just to mention to people, I know like we always hear like, oh, I'm scared of needles, but like when I went, like you don't even feel it, and I feel like even like watching your pet get it, I'm sure you have clients that can't watch that, but it is. So the needle is so little, right? Is that kind of the key?
Most of them do not react. I will say, like, if I do have a patient react to a needle, it's usually because it's a small, sensitive dog, like maybe a Chihuahua that doesn't have a lot of dog anyways. And sometimes kitty cats. But honestly, I have even extra small needles that are meant for patients that small. And if I use those needles, most of the time they don't react to those either. And I actually do have videos of me putting needles in patients and them not reacting for people that need to see that.
That's
just
good.
because it's surprising how well they tolerate it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's different, when it's me getting acupuncture, but when you're with a pet, they can't really tell you. You are obviously like an expert of, where the needles go and what areas are sensitive and what areas really need to be treated. So it's interesting because you're going with it. You're going with your gut and your experience. Whereas, a human, I tell them, where the pain is, and then obviously I can say, ouch. It's like getting Botox, which I'm overdue on, by the way, which hurts a little bit more, by the way.
Yeah. No. Yeah, so I can say that most of my pets too, like I have these treats that I freeze baby food.
Oh, perfect.
So simple ingredients. I usually use ones that have like meat, so turkey or chicken or beef, and sometimes sweet potato or pumpkin. I freeze those, and the dogs get to lick on that the whole time that they're getting the needles. They don't even notice.
Right.
They're having the time of their life.
They can't wait for the next visit, probably, I'm sure.
Yeah, a lot of them pull their owners straight up to my door.
Yeah. So in your opinion, again, we talk about this a lot on this podcast. Why do you think there has been kind of a turn with people giving like really their pets the best care and wanting the best for them and wanting, to advance healing for a surgery or, chemo or that kind of thing? Why do you think this is happening now?
Yeah. I think that there's been a big shift in the dynamic of the pet in the household recently too. I remember, like 20 years ago, the dog was just a dog that would be outside. A lot of people didn't even let dogs inside the house. And then it started transitioning where dogs came inside the house, but they would just get the rabies once a year. And then, soon enough, we started really talking about the importance of all the vaccines and getting a heartworm test. And, now the dogs get their annuals. But as time has progressed, people are starting to take better care of the dogs because the dogs are no longer just a dog that's outside. It's like, no, this is a part of my family. A lot of younger people, they don't even have kids. They choose to have pets as their children. And so they're willing to spend the time and the money it takes to take better care of their dogs. Or, a lot of times 20 years ago, if a dog had a CCL tear or a hip injury or something that would really be a really hard fix, it was, for one, hard to find somebody that could do that kind of surgery on a dog because it wasn't as widespread or available. It was, crazy expensive, and a lot of people weren't going to do those services. So that's why those services weren't as popularly offered either. So I think as the pets are getting kind of pulled into the family dynamic more, they're getting better care because people are willing to do that for them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm one of the ones with no kids and 4 dogs.
Me too.
I literally bought my 2-pound Chihuahua from Tennessee, brand new pink bed, because why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I do that? But yeah, I love it. I think, and I think too, for pet owners too, I had one of my friends get a surgery on her dog for her CCL and bought one of the red light therapy lights to try to heal that faster, which I want to talk to you about now. But laser therapy is at least in my realm, is kind of new. I know it's not really new, but it is something that you offer that I assume is pretty popular. But can you explain what laser therapy is and how it helps animals?
Yeah. So it's actually using light energy to penetrate into the tissues. And it actually helps the cells on a cellular level, which is also what the PIMF bed does, too, which is another thing that I offer. But all of these things kind of work similarly. So the laser is really good at, again, bringing blood flow into an area, into the tissues. So it can help increase the tissue healing. It can help decrease pain, tightness. It also increases nitric oxide, growth factors. So it really actually helps it has more of a local effect, I would say. Acupuncture has a local and a systemic effect. And then laser does a lot of the local effects that acupuncture does in different ways. And so that's why they work really well together. I have a lot of patients that will come to me just for acupuncture and laser together. And you definitely will see good results with just doing one or just doing the other. Some people do come to me just wanting one thing or another, but when you put those together, I do see the most drastic response with patients.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just too, like for you, I assume, you kind of are looking at what's coming next. You're doing your research to see what can I combo these to make this patient feel better. But just the education too of what you're doing, I assume it's constantly evolving.
Yes, I'm definitely also getting better about kind of being able to summarize all of the effects. And also, again, there's a lot of things that we know that it helps with, but we don't know how. So even with acupuncture, for example, back when I was doing mobile acupuncture for 1.5 years, we had a cat that the owner had told me she was kind of on the edge of having to put them to sleep just because the cat was dealing with end-stage heart failure and just didn't have any energy to even get up and do anything, didn't want to eat, was losing a lot of, his normal behavioral traits and everything like that. Well, I went and we started doing weekly sessions, and we did weekly sessions for about 8 months, way longer than the mom even thought he was going to make it. And every time that I went and treated him, she said he was getting more pieces of himself back. He started playing with his brother. He started breathing better. He got his appetite back, and he didn't have to be on as many medications. So it was helping with his end stage heart failure, even though that's not something that I know, we know exactly how it is helping the heart, but we see the results from it.
Yeah, wow, that's incredible. And that's the next question I was going to ask you is it must be so gratifying to see kind of not completely broken animals coming to you, but hurting, and seeing, them really like change or relax or heal. Like that's a great part of your job.
Yeah, well, a lot of pets come to me and the owners too because they've tried everything else at this point and nothing has been working, or the dog's been on, medications for so long that they're going to start having secondary issues from it, and the owner doesn't want to keep them on meds longer than they have to, or a lot of times too, like surgery's not an option. If it's an older pet that can't undergo anesthesia, or they have other like issues going on that wouldn't make them a good candidate, or if the surgery is just too expensive, if the owner doesn't have the type of schedule to stay with the pet and really keep them calm and keep them from re-injuring that surgery site for the 8 to 12 weeks of strict cage rest. A lot of owners can't do surgery, and so I always like to be able to tell them that there's still hope, that we can do the conservative approach. And a lot of pets get back to normal, or, if they're not 100%, they'll be close to it. We can get them feeling better. We can get, with the rehab and the exercises, we can get them functioning better. So there's still hope. There's hope for everybody.
Yeah, I love that. And it's just, again, like a great message about integrative pet care. Like if everything else is not working, like why not try this? And it's just, again, if you just take your own human body and say, I'm getting these, and this is what I was doing. I was getting headaches and it was affecting my back. And then I finally was like, I don't want to try any more medications, like when I went, like it worked, it worked. And again, animals can't talk to you, but Doc knows when that animal's feeling better, and the owner certainly can tell when the animal's feeling better. So I love that so much. I heard you mention that you did mobile for a bit. So you have a brick and mortar now in Nashville area.
Yeah. So when I first got out of vet school, I needed to do my rehab training. So that took me about a year. You have your online portions, then you have to go do your in-person training, which was in Missouri. And then you have to do more online and then more in person. So while I was doing my training, I still wanted to get in, out in the field and get my hands dirty with the acupuncture side of it. And because there wasn't anyone else really doing mobile acupuncture at that point, and there's a lot of pets that do better at home, I just thought that'd be a great way for me to kind of jump in there. I didn't want to open up my brick and mortar until I had my rehab, because I wanted to be able to do, the exercises, laser therapy, and all of that together.
Yeah, which is great now that you have that space. I'm sure it's nice to have everything under one roof, especially for pet owners too. It's the mobile thing is like blowing up a bit with vet care in general. Concierge vets, we see it actually with human doctors are doing it as well, but it is very popular now. But for you need the space to do what you need to do, and you don't always get that in people's homes, which is really smart. That's awesome. Well, yeah. Thank you. That was so good. I learned so much. I knew I would after talking to you at RoofFest. But do you have any future plans? Just keep advancing your knowledge and growing your business?
Yeah, actually, this might be a little bit of a touchy subject, but I do really have a passion as well for in-home euthanasia services. I have treated a lot of pets up until the end too. But I feel like people, until they haven't had to do it and then they get the opportunity to do it in home, when it's at home and the pet is comfortable and you're comfortable, it really makes the goodbye so much better. And so I want to be able to offer that for people, because I know it's not something that everywhere does. And there's also a lot of people outside the realm of like the radius for lap of love to come to them, or maybe they can't afford lap of love. So I want to be something that everybody can do when it is time to say goodbye. So that's something I'm working on. there's a few more trainings I want to get in terms of like herbs. I want to be able to prescribe herb formulas for people. I want to start learning how to develop like a home cooked diet for people. So lots of things.
All integrative, which I love. It's awesome.
Yeah.
The in-home euthanasia it's really incredible. So I've had one bad experience with it, and not the fault of lack of love at all. It was not. It was just a dog that probably should have been euthanized a bit earlier and was in so much pain that even just trying to euthanize her was really hard. But around here, if you are not in the system of the in-home youth, like as you know, like being counseled about, when is it time, quality of life scale, there can be a wait of like 4 to 5 days, which is so hard when today is the day. So for you to start that business, I will tell you, you will probably be very, very busy. It is a very popular service in this area to the point where there's about 5 businesses that we use for our Live Like Rue cancer dogs and cats. And it's not an easy job. Actually, I've had some of those people on my podcast, and it's not just that moment, but like leading up to it, like kind of counseling, and a lot of people, the younger you are, the more people are experiencing their first pet loss, so they don't know a lot of times when is the time. And again, I talk about that a lot on this podcast. That's probably the question that I get asked the most, not just from Live Like Rue clients, but like from my friends, that's why that quality of life scale and talking to your vet is so important. Like I am just a human who unfortunately has lost a lot of pets, but mostly because we take in old pets. So that's how we lose them all. But yeah, there's such a need for that. So I'm glad that's on your radar because you will be an asset in that field for sure.
Yeah, well, and people will remember the goodbye for the rest of their lives. So it's really important to me to just make that as comfortable as possible for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, that's so important. I love that philosophy. Yeah, that work is really, really difficult. Really difficult. Thank you, Dr. Picking. The Vital Spark is the website. Please, if you're in the Nashville area, and again, this is great knowledge for everybody. There are people in your area doing acupuncture for pets. Just check them out. But if you are in the Nashville area, please support somebody that supports Live Like Rue. That's so important to us as a team. And thank you for joining Rue Fest. I know it means so much to us to have a variety of vendors, and somebody like you is such an asset to have there. So I'll see you next year there too.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. I had a lot of fun.
Okay, good. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was good talking to you.
Yeah, thank you. Integrative pet care, everybody. It is. I mean, it's been around for a while. We've been talking about it for a while, but it's so important. Do your research. There's so many great things about it. And I really appreciate Dr. Picking taking the time. Supporting sponsors, you're up. Thank you to our supporting sponsors. On the corner of Montrose and Troy in Chicago's Irving Park neighborhood, you'll find a hidden gem known as Templestowe Pub. They have a great selection of local draft beers, and the Malort is always flowing. Oh, no. Join us for a charity bingo event or a tap takeover with a local brewery. Don't want to leave your dog at home? All good. Bring them along. Whether you're throwing darts or playing a banger on the jukebox, you're guaranteed to have an awesome time. So head on over to 3135 West Montrose and look for the old style sign. The Canine PT is Chicago's highest rated dog physical therapy clinic, and they're dedicated to enhancing the lives of your four-legged companions as they age or when recovering from an injury. Give the gift of pain relief to your furry friend. They also offer a discount for rescue dogs. For more information, visit thecanineft.com. Thank you, Dr. Picking. Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.